I am Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Susi.
And we're paranormal specialists who live in the most haunted city on earth, Savannah, Georgia. Every day is Halloween in our line of work, so join us as we spin true tales of haunts, murders, and disturbing Savannah history. I'm Madison.
I'm Chris.
And welcome to the most haunted city on earth. Hello, welcome back to another episode of the most haunted city on earth. My name is Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Susi.
And I'm JT Timmons.
And welcome to a From One to Wicked.
Ooh. I love From One to Wicked.
They're fun.
They are so fun.
One to Wicked.
Bloody McKenzie.
I'm
just going to go ahead and get it out of the way.
Bloody McKenzie.
Because every From One to Wicked, we mention Bloody McKenzie.
It's true.
Because that's our highest ranking. That's out of 9. That's our highest ranking entity. Go back all the way back to check out Bloody McKenzie because that was just, oh my God, it was such a good episode. Love Bloody McKenzie. I saw him. He's cool. So
this one, though, is called the Kasha. If you remember, like in Madagascar, where they're like, Kasha, the Fasa! The Fasa is coming! That's what I picture with this.
That's funny.
Well, that takes away a little bit of the venom right there.
No.
It's not that wicked.
No, they were horrified of the Fasa. Remember? Because the Fasa wanted to eat all the lemurs.
Yeah.
It was, Madagascar was dark.
Yeah. Lemurs kind of deserved it, but
no. It was just like, what was the little lemur, Mort, who is like, the Fasa is
he
coming!
deserved it the most.
We've come onto some.
I just know how to. I know how to like.
You just struck a nerve.
Big button. How cute is it versus how much it deserves to die is a very touchy subject.
So we'll get into what the Kasha eat, because the Kasha eats grosser things than lemurs for sure.
Well, there you go.
But anywho, before we get into our episode, JT, do you want to thank some Parajunkies for us?
Yes. Thank you, all the Parajunkies.
Every last one of you.
Every single one. You know what? Yeah. We're thanking all the Parajunkies today. Because I don't have my list up.
Are they responsible for it?
But we are thanking all the Parajunkies today.
Are they responsible for the lovely camera that is?
They are.
Yes.
Okay, yes. I will say that right now. We bought 40% of the Black Magic Studio that we are going to have 100% of here before the year ends. Live streams are going to be extra crispy soon. We're going to be live streaming way more, and we're going to be live streaming publicly more too. We are, we've just realized that people love live streams, and also they were shot on an A7S III before, which is not supposed to be run for long periods of time. So the Parajunkies have helped us get this beautiful Black Magic Pro 6K. Mm-hmm. And it's just, it's lovely. Madison and Chris are on it right now. So we just really appreciate the Parajunkies. Every single one of y'all. Seriously, it means the world when you just, stick with us and support us and help us grow, because that's exactly what we're doing right now. We are growing and putting the money in the right places. So become a Parajunkie for 0 ads. Stupid crispy live streams. And just, like we're updating the page like almost every single day with posts and, just to keep up with us and support us. So we appreciate the support. Anyway.
Anywho.
And then happy
Hulaween. Woo!
Happy Hulaween, guys. Yep.
Hulaween.
Tell them, oh God. So, Madison, go ahead and tell them, this is the first episode of Hulaween.
This is.
Tell them what they've won.
You have won a Kasha.
Kasha!
Yes, so this is going to be a 5-part series because JT and I, when this is up, we will be in Hawaii at that point. Yay! So, which is pretty fun. Yes, we will be in Hawaii because my sister is...
We're not going to be in Hawaii yet.
When is this going up?
So this is going up the Saturday before we go to Hawaii, baby.
I'm so sorry, Debria.
It's okay.
Anyways, well, that's going to be cut. We will almost be in Hawaii when this is going up. We will be in Hawaii in a few days after this is up. But to get you kicked off, we will be here with this.
Crystal clear.
But yes, so JT and I are going to Hawaii to celebrate my sister graduating college, yada, yada, yada.
Go Knowles.
And there is so many haunted things. So we decided to do a whole series on Hawaiian spirits. So each episode will be a surprise of what it will be. But we have lots of fun stuff, including a two-parter episode. So that's going to be pretty cool.
Yes, true crime, two-parter. Well, there's a true crime episode, a two-parter episode from One to Wicked. We just got it. All of our segments. We got it going. So it's going to be really super-duper dope.
And if you want to see the places that we're going to be talking about in this series, become a Parajunkie because they're going to get to actually see it live with us there. Hopefully we don't die at these locations.
Ideally. That would be, although, I mean, really, for numbers, if you could die, that would be amazing.
Honestly?
No.
No, JT.
That was a joke.
What about severely hurt?
No.
Not severely.
I mean, if you want to do that,
Honestly,
that's up to
this
you.
is some Black Mirror junk, right?
Right. That's
Speaking of which,
it's like we're just like, trying to grow a podcast.
Just a side note, if you haven't watched the new season of Black Mirror, you need to go do it. It is absolutely phenomenal.
So
fantastic.
The second episode is just
the second episode's amazing, but also not a sponsor. All right, here we go.
We're just endorsing, saying it is good.
Yes.
We should One to Wicked the episodes.
Ooh.
All right.
Ooh, anyways, okay, so the Kasha. So what is it? It is an ancient Japanese creature. The literal translation of it is fire cat.
Wow.
So fire cat. Meow. Spicy cat.
Spicy cat.
So now, mind you, I do want to preface this particular from One to Wicked. This is technically a Japanese folklore, but because it is Polynesia, there is a lot of influence from Japan in Hawaii in particular. So you'll see a lot of crossover with this. And I will tell you, if we wanted to do a second part of this, just in the Japanese folklore, if you remember how the gorilla was with her backstory.
Oh, Lord.
That is very similar to the Kasha. The Kasha also has like a whole drama that is associated with it.
Very rich in their folklore. I mean, they get nitty gritty. They go way, way, way into detail of all of them. If you go, if you want to know about the Tengu, if you want to know about all these creatures in Japanese folklore, they do deep dives because they live too on a volatile little island, and they were afraid of being wiped out by the gods. Because it was such a deep dive, it involved a lot of themes and imagery that were not necessily for public consumption, let's say.
She had divorces.
Yes, she did a lot of she did a lot of things that we are in no way trying to endorse.
She had babies and balloons on her tail.
Balloon babies.
It was stuff that only super fans could digest. That is why I made it a Parajunkie exclusive. I was like, only Ashley Werner and everybody else is going to love it. Jameson's going to be in
JT is not a big fan of when I bring up folklore. He doesn't like the hoopla of it. So
it's fine.
But folklore is
it's
by and large how people got around the unexplained.
Yeah.
When something unexplained happened, the folklore came, but there's always roots. Like even today when we're telling ghost stories and we are basically forming our folklore based on experience and based on all of these things that we put together, and we could be way off. I have this like weird sensation that in about 100 years, there's going to be some device and it's going to be like, can you believe that people used to like be really afraid of ghosts when, now I can press this button and talk to my dead grandpa, and it's going to be so commonplace. There's something that we don't understand. We don't know. That's very simple in explanation. But right now we're all about the oohs and the oogity boogities. You have to know folklore if you're going to take any of this seriously, because folklore was very serious to the people of the time. Superstitions came about. We talk about fairy lore a lot. But the truth of the matter is those were ways that people were trying to explain and express very concrete things that were happening. And maybe it was, just one of the villagers was a nut and 8 children, but they were like, okay, don't go that way.
Right.
What's that direction? Well, the moss is funny on that tree. Okay, then the moss is a monster. Moss monster. And so those are the kinds of things that we have to pay attention to. And, ultimately folklore is almost a roadmap to how we developed, how we developed as human beings. So don't ignore folklore.
It's true.
Yep.
So, anywho, with that being said, just wanted to preface that. So there's a whole deep dive in how the Kasha interacts in Japan, because I know there will be people who are being like, well, I learned that the Kasha did this, and this.
Right.
So I'm going off of the Polynesian version of the Kasha.
Right.
So bear with that. Anyways, so it directly translates to fire cat. It is a creature that frequently kind of hangs out.
Before we go any further, isn't JT highly susceptible to people making cat noises?
Oh, God, no, stop. No. Anyway,
Anyway, back to...
Melissa Thayer said, yay, new camera, so cool. Don Nielsen said, yes, my fiance is so jealous of the new camera. Lauren Notacal said, Madison and Chris's perfectly synchronized hula dance gave me all the serotonin I need for today. And Melissa Thayer said, that would be awesome to be able to talk to the dead like that.
Yeah, that would be cool. But, yes. So it is a creature that frequents populated areas, and that is where it gets its dietary sustenance.
Nom, nom, nom.
Nom, 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 nom. Because it enjoys eating fresh human corpses.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Delightful, right? Yummy. So anyways, according to the lore, these creatures are a type of bakeneko, living among human beings under the guise of a common house cat or stray. So I guess don't trust your jellicle cats in your neighborhood because they might be a kasha. So they are bipedal, which is horrifying.
Just a cat walking around. Hey, meow.
Well, okay, so if you look at the illustrations of this, especially in the Japanese versions of the Kasha, they have hair, like human hair.
Right.
They wear like robes and they're walking around like, oh, don't mind me. I'm just a normal cat. And I'm like,
meow.
like what cat in Japan or Hawaii?
Could you point me to the morgue?
It's just like, I'm feeling a little bit peckish. Does anybody know where the nearest blood bank is? Anyways, but yeah, I just the bipedal thing really tickles my brain in a weird way because I just can't imagine like that doesn't set off some type of alarm in your head like, hey, my cat walks on two legs. Isn't that weird?
Now, I've owned at least three cats in my lifetime that spent a lot of time up on its haunch, like upright. And
Sure.
it always alarmed me. I had a cat who used to take the food and eat it like a squirrel, like take it out of its bowl and stand and eat it, holding
That's
it.
cute.
They're so
and
weird.
it's just weird, right? You see it and you're like, that's not right. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? What's going on?
Did you have a Kasha?
Maybe.
Yeah.
There were no corpses around my house. Must have been eaten by the Kasha.
By the Kasha. They were keeping you corpse free.
They were. Good work, Kasha.
Good work, babies. Anyways. So they are bipedal and larger than most cats. And they are accompanied by flames from hell.
Oh, well, that's always a dead giveaway.
Right.
That there might be something wrong with your cat. Meow. Ow. God, gotta remember, my cat has hellfire around him. Is that weird? Is that strange? Anyone?
Do the Hawaiian and Japanese humane societies just have a lot of problems with the flaming cats?
It's like, we got the flaming cat again. Let it go.
Just let it go. Don't bring it in here.
EO Serenity said, new fear unlocked. Neighbor's cat could be an Akasha. LOL. Note to self, be extra nice to the cat.
Be extra nice to the cat.
Yes. Leave out.
Although it might not bother you until you're dead. So,
right. So if you cut your finger off, just know you could leave that as an offering to your jellicle kashas around your neighborhood.
There you go.
And they'll leave you alone.
They'll leave you alone. Or they'll just hang out waiting.
They're like,
waiting.
One day she'll go.
Nom, 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 nom.
Licking their lips every time they see you. Anyways, so sorry for those noises for those who had to listen to that. Anyways, so they are accompanied by flames from hell where they make their advent in the evening during rainy or stormy weather. So they're on fire when it's raining.
That's hellfire for you.
Literally. So They particularly are dangerous when funerals are occurring.
Oh, sure.
As you can imagine, because they then reveal themselves in their true forms, which are these horrifying, like demented-looking creatures. And they are known to snatch corpses and spirit them to hell for punishment.
Before history is written, it's played. Before it's frozen in time, it's fought one shift at a time. Before it's etched in silver, it's carved in ice. What happens next will last forever. The Stanley Cup Final on ABC and ESPN Plus begins Saturday.
The corpses or the souls attached to the corpses? I mean,
I think both. I think they're trying to say, like, basically the freshly dead, you know, they're trying to snatch them and take them to hell, because the logic is the Kasha would only get you if you were evil, like if you were full of malevolence in your life or you did a lot of bad stuff. Then the Kasha is going to come and they're going to snatch you and take you down to hell, which seems almost like a Western ideology in my regard.
Well, and probably worth like an examination somewhere down the road is the Asian culture's hells.
Sure.
The fact that they have hell is fascinating, but the many varied levels of hell that they participate in is also very interesting. So, again, a future episode, Asian hell.
Asian hell.
Asian hell.
Yeah.
Or actually, excuse me, East Asian hell.
Yes.
Is that right? East Asian hell.
Yes. Because it's like the logic is, I guess, maybe it's a hell of just corpses and flaming cats. Do the Kasha have their own realm? I don't know.
Well, yes, in so many words, there are hells for very specific, like, and I guess it's universal. So it's weird. It's worth examining how cultures come up with this idea that after death there is some kind of punishment awaiting you,
right?
And in many cultures, those punishments are relegated to specific, like the 9 levels of hell. It's like if you're a liar, you're here. If you're a murderer, you're here. If you're, but in Asian, it gets very, 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 very specific because a lot of times your hell is derived by the manner of death that you had, or so there's a lot of different takes on what hell is, what the afterworld is.
So there you go. We'll have to do.
So this is the hell of being dragged by a fiery cat.
By fiery cat. There you go. So a couple other things that the Kashas will do is they will also animate a corpse as a puppet. So they like to play with their food.
They like to play with their food.
Or they will simply eat it as their meal. Yeah, they'll set the table. They'll get like all the nice fine china out, and they'll just put the corpse down and go to town. Because, I can only imagine how hungry they must be in between meals, because
waiting for somebody
in your vicinity to just die.
Turn your ass into meow mix.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Anyways.
Meow mix.
Fancy feast up in here.
But more often than not, the Kasha are known to indulge in the latter. So they just want to eat you, basically, which sounds on par for cats,
Right.
I could totally see a lot of cats that I've met wanting to just like munch down.
Well, isn't there that thing where they're like, how long will your pet wait until it eats you?
Right.
And a dog will wait like until it's almost dead of starvation, but a cat is like 12 hours. I'm like, I have slept more than 12 hours. That means that at least, a few times in my life, my cat's been like, well, he's not getting up.
Wow.
So if you ever wake up and your cat's like on your chest, just staring you down, it's thinking about eating you.
It's thinking about it. So funny.
So the Kashas are also known to as yokie, that would steal corpses from cemeteries. Also makes sense, if they're really hungry, they're like, I'll just
yokai.
Yokai.
Is it
Is
it a yokai?
It Y-O with the line over it.
K-A-I?
Yes.
Yeah, yokai. So yokais are spirits responsible for disturbances of all types. Like there's a yokai responsible for burping. There's a yokai responsible for making you late. They are very pesky spirits.
Very well. That makes sense because they're going grave digging as well,
Right.
and so
Right.
Interesting.
That would be the yokai of missing corpses.
So when you go to school without your homework, the yokai.
A
ate my
yokai
homework.
has gotten, yeah.
there you go.
Okay.
So if the next time for Jameson, who's listening, this next time you don't do your homework, just tell your teacher.
Hey, we are not.
We're not endorsing not to do
not
your
doing your
homework,
homework.
but if it happens, just tell him the yokai got it.
Yokai ate my homework.
But yeah, so they would steal corpses from the cemeteries because I guess, if there's no fresh bodies, you got, just go digging for the leftovers, in the fridge. But it is also said that cats that grow old would turn into this yokai.
Interesting.
And their true identity is actually a nekomata, which is a monster that has some differences in it, depiction on whether or not it is a mountain one or a domestic one.
Interesting.
So I think what they mean by mountain or domestic is based off of if they are a feral
Right.
yokai, or if they are a living in your house yokai.
That makes sense.
Because the feral ones are horrific looking, and so, which makes sense because they're feral.
They're feral. Right. They're wild.
Exactly. So, but all the same, though, they turn into these monsters the older they get. So, so your elderly cat.
I'm beginning to think that Japan just didn't like cats.
Right?
Like, what is that cat still doing around? When it gets old, it's just going to eat you.
It is. It's going to turn into a horrific monster. You might as well just go throw it back to the mountains. Anyway,
Tiffany Canetta said on the live stream comments, Tiffany said, my paternal grandparents were from Hawaii, and they used to tell us about obake coming to get us.
Oh,
Obake.
what? Tiffany, you must.
Yeah,
must
Tiffany, let us
describe.
know what the obake is. I'll read it in the comments, and then Don Nielsen me out at me. So
Yes.
Yeah,
No.
join in.
This is a trend. If you want to send in small videos of you meowing,
no,
please do.
stop. Let's move
So-
on.
Personally, the imagery that I think is the creepiest version of the Kasha is that there are other cases where the Kasha is depicted as an oni and it is carrying the damned in a cart to hell. Can you imagine this massive fiery cat carrying a cart of dead people to hell?
Nope. Don't
That's
like it.
Horrifying.
Don't like it.
JT's starting to like this one. I can see
Yeah,
it in his
okay.
face. He's like, I like this fiery.
And it's only the damned?
Yeah.
Oh, boy, that's going to rate low on my scale there,
So-
Betty.
Well,
Because that's righteous, not wicked.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
So here's the thing.
From 1 to righteous, we're looking at,
I mean,
9.
but like, it's like the most crazy looking creature. Like, imagine a cat, long hair, walking on its back peats, flaming tail, flames around it, carrying a cart of dead people. That's creepy on my regard.
yeah, but it's not from 1 to creepy. It's from 1 to wicked.
Sure. Anyways,
Creepy things are wicked.
okay. So, anyways, ways to protect your corpses for those of you who are living in Japan and or Hawaii. So, as a method of protecting corpses from Kasha, at a temple, a Kasha is said to live near. A funeral is performed twice. And it is said that by putting a rock inside the coffin for the first funeral, this protects the corpse from being stolen by the Kasha. So you got to trick the Kasha in the
You got
first
to
funeral.
trick the Kasha.
Yes, so you got to put the rock in the Kasha, or so if you think there's a Kasha living by your temple where you're going to have the funeral, you put the rock in the coffin, have the funeral once, Kasha's going to try to steal a rock instead of the body. Then Kasha's going to get frustrated because it's like, oh, cool, no human here. And then...
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
there
then-
you go.
And then we're going to have the funeral again, and now we're all good to go. So...
It does kind of explain some of the elaborate, and mind you, I'm pretty sure that every culture has creatures specifically corpse eaters, because throughout history we've been plagued by scavenger animals that will dig up. Because in the West we have ghouls. The concept of ghouls digging into graves and pillaging and eating the bones, and because we see evidence of it. And we don't want to just say, oh, well, these are like wild dogs, or, a wolf came in, or whatever it is that in nature provided. We say it's a monster. There's a belief that all of the superstitions around the creatures that come for the dead, vampires and ghouls and things, led to us filling our bodies with formaldehyde. And, protecting us, trying to starve out these creatures. And that's why we don't see them as much anymore, is we started making the bodies unsuitable for these creatures to eat. And now we've literally starved the ghouls to death by basically polluting our corpses, by poisoning our corpses.
Now that makes sense as well. Another way is that you can leave a hair razor on top of the coffin, which would prevent the Kasha from stealing the corpse. Also makes sense. I mean, a razor is always a good method.
Plus, have you ever tried to shave a cat?
No, don't shave
do
a
that.
cat. There's multiple ways to do it, I heard. Anyways, it is said that before a funeral procession, you have to chant, "I will not let the Baku feed on this," or "I will not let Kasha feed on this," and you have to chant it twice. Another way is said that a Kasha is avoided by playing a mayobachi, a traditional Japanese musical instrument.
Oh, sure.
I guess they don't like the sound of the mayobachi, so you can
Who
play
does?
that.
It's not a popular instrument, I don't think.
What kind of instrument is it?
I don't know.
I guess
In my mind, I'm like, how popular can it be?
I'll play it in my microphone. Hold
yes.
When you
It's
really
called
think
a
about
mayobachi?
Myobachi.
Is it the weird single string thing?
Maybe.
Or
That's
is
what
it-
I would think, but
All right. So it looks like. Let's see. You can keep going, Melly.
okay. Well, I was going to say, if your cat is, maybe play the sound around your cat at home and see how
And
it
just
reacts
test
to it.
Although Japanese music is
Wait.
not widely loved.
Okay, so yeah. They don't like it.
They don't like it.
All right.
So test your cats at home and
Well,
see
this is
what
a classic.
happens.
When strings used to be made out of cat gut. Wasn't that a thing?
Yeah,
at
it
one
was.
time?
Maybe that's why.
Ooh, interesting.
So, now the incidents that have occurred in Hawaii that have been both associated with Kashas. The first one happened on August 13th, 1942, my birthday, but in 1942. Very fun. I like that. An article appeared.
Subtle way to plug.
I know. No, you never see things happen on my birthday.
There you go.
Interesting. An article appeared in the Honolulu Star Bulletin that described a haunting incident that they blamed on the evil doings of Kahuna, and otherwise known as, there was another article that was written about it being the Kasha House. So, answering a call at 1:25 a.m., Police Sergeant Mosley Cummins and Patrolman Robert Anseth found a 10-year-old Hawaiian boy and his two sisters, ages 18 and 20, on their living room sofa, shrieking in fear.
Whoa.
The mother, also shrieking, was waving tie leaves and sprinkling Hawaiian salt to ward off ghosts. The mother stated that at 10 p.m., her 10-year-old son detected the odor of a ghost, which is associated with Kashas because it is said that when they appear around you, there is a sulfurous smell.
Classic.
I thought it'd be burnt cat.
Well, it might be a little
They may
bit.
be one and the same.
Yeah, exactly. Her 10-year-old son had detected the odor of a ghost in their Kaimuki home, and apparently, angry at being found out, the spirits attacked him, and subsequently his two sisters repeatedly attempting to strangle him. My husband, who left me, is to blame, the mother added. So the husband had recently died, and they think that the Kasha is still hanging around afterwards, and
for
they
some
didn't
food.
they did not like being found out. So after a struggle that lasted for a good hour and a half, the
Whoa.
police... I know.
What? What?
The police...
That's a feature-length movie.
Right?
Just fighting a demon cat for an hour and a half?
Well,
That's like a WWE event.
It had transformed into the yokai at that point. So it's like... so the police yielded the troubled home to a kahuna and took the woman to her sister's home for safety around 3 a.m. Even the police were like, yeah, you probably shouldn't stay here. And the Hawaiian woman's earlier use of Thai leaf water and salt to ward off the harmful spirit proved to be fruitless, as she now pointed out to one of the police officers' arms, "You look, you're covered in goose pimples." That was how the article ended. So,
dun dun dun. I thought it was going to be scratch marks, but
that's what I thought too. But no, goose pimples. Well, so. That's an interesting part is in a lot of these stories, the use of Hawaiian salt was used, and which makes sense. It's a very deeply protective product to use. Salt in general. But apparently not with Kasha. You got to play the instruments, or you got to use razors or things like that, apparently, which I guess needs to be more widely known.
Yeah.
So the second incident would happen.
Wait, let me real fast.
Yes.
Let me just interrupt you super quick. Tiffany sent what the obake is.
Oh, yes.
The obake was the equivalent to a boogeyman.
Yeah, boogeyman.
They told us that the obake would come to get us if we misbehaved. They didn't describe the nature, so it was up to us to imagine how horrific it looked.
Nice.
That sounds about right. They're like,
Brilliant
way
on
to
the
do
part
it,
of
yeah.
your parents. Absolutely. That's the way to do it. The imagination is always going to be scarier than any description.
Yes, and then Melissa Thayer said that she saw a cat on the AI GhostTube app at the haunted Airbnb she works at. Lauren said, "I'm putting it in my will that everyone has to do the Kasha chant at my funeral."
Yes. Yes.
Yep. And then EO Serenity said, "Whoa, that makes sense about why they use embalming chemicals. I always wondered why."
Does make sense.
Cool.
I mean, yeah, that's pure conspiracy theory, but I happen to subscribe to it.
Right. So the second incident would happen on Halloween 1972, of course.
Hulaween.
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 Oh, no.
Hulaween.
It's not Michael Myers
Some
coming
more
to get
serotonin for you, Lauren.
It's not Michael Myers coming to get you on Halloween. It is the Kasha. So in a Halloween editorial about a local ghost story that describes a call to HPD regarding a haunted house. Whether it is the same house from the previous story from 1942 is unknown because no address was given for either location. What is known though, is that an urgent call comes from 3 girls who are sharing a house that the neighborhood considered haunted. You know, maybe you should listen to your neighbors when you're moving into a house. Maybe like walk around the neighborhood and just be like, what do you know about that house? Because I swear that's how every good horror movie starts.
Yeah, but oftentimes you don't hear the stories until after you've lived there for a little bit.
True.
And then like, oh, you live in that house?
Right.
Everyone who's ever lived there has been decapitated.
By the Kasha. So the girls heard strange noises in the house, like someone was moving around and talking. One of the girls said she felt an unusual sensation of something resting their hand on her arm. Consequently, they called the HPD and involved a request for the officers to follow the girls to Papakolea, where one of them lived. The girls got into their car and the officer got into his car, then drove down Waialae Avenue. Suddenly, the girl driving pulled the car into the Oasis Cafe parking lot where the public storage of Waialae and Kapahulu are now. So if you live anywhere near this area, I believe this article came from Oahu. So if you live anywhere near that, now you know that this is where this happened, at the public storage. Anyways.
When you go to Hawaii, I want a lot of pictures of cats.
Yes.
Like every cat you see,
There's a lot of cats.
Take a
There's a
picture.
lot of
That's
cats
what
in
I'm saying
Hawaii.
is
Yeah.
take a
Oh,
picture.
yeah.
You see a cat, take a picture.
Absolutely. And we'll see what it does. Does it burst into flames like a phoenix?
Oh.
Anyways, so according to the report that the police officer would later file, the girl sitting in the middle of the front seat began fighting off something that was strangling her. However, there was nothing there. The officer left his car and reached into the girl's car to assist, but said that he was grabbed by a big calloused hand that was not there.
Huh.
Creepy.
Huh.
It was completely invisible, but it twisted his arm. That's when he ran back to his squad car and radioed for assistance. The officer then put the hysterical girl in his car and urged her friends to follow him, but the squad car wouldn't start.
Boom.
It sounds like the Kasha are like getting starved out, and they're like, we got to take somebody for our own.
Although now it sounds more like that of Baku,
Right.
Because big calloused hand doesn't immediately register as cat demon to me.
Exactly. So the second he placed the girl back in her own car, the other officer tried the motor, and it started immediately. The two cars drove about 5 yards, and suddenly the door of the girl's car flew open, and the same girl fell out onto the road. She was tearing at her throat as if somebody was choking her. Together, the two policemen were not strong enough to pull her hands away. The Hawaiian sergeant ran into the Oasis Cafe and came out with a handful of Hawaiian salt and a glass of water, which he sprayed on everybody. Calm was immediately restored.
Ah.
Although this
That cop knew what was going down.
Right. Although this editorial was meant for Halloween, the contributors, Charles Ken and Rubelite Johnson, are highly respected Hawaiian historians who also shared personal accounts in the same editorial. So that fantastic sounding story may have been based on some fact.
All right.
So both of those are referred to as the Kasha houses of
Kasha house.
of Hawaii. So
Could be the same house.
that's kind of
there's
the concept
yeah.
there. So
Interesting.
which is interesting because in both accounts, they said that it felt like somebody was strangling them or something,
Right.
which sounds almost like some type of entity trying to get it. Maybe it was an entity working with Akasha.
Right.
Like,
Kasha's like, if you kill that one, I'll eat it.
literally, I'll take it with me.
You kill him, I eat him.
It's just like the garbage people of the spirit world or the Kashas.
Right.
But yeah, it's super interesting though. And it's interesting that they have translated over, even though you have all this sea in
Right.
between
Sure.
those countries, that they both seem to have taken on a similar type of folklore.
Yeah.
Well, the commerce and travel of that region obviously, influenced a lot of the fear and the superstitions. And, you show up on the shore and it's like, hey, have you heard about the fiery cat that eats people? It's like, somebody dug up my, uncle's grave. Do you think it was that cat? Probably. It could be. I don't know. I don't know why they're from New York all of a sudden.
I don't even know.
You don't know.
Forget about it.
Forget about
Giant
it.
fire cat eats corpses. What do you want? What are you going to do?
But personally, as creepy as the Kasha is, unless for sure that is the MO of the Kasha, that they may have just been starved out in this area.
Oh, sure.
Or it's just.
And now they're desperate for corpses.
Exactly. And they're like, I'm going to make my own corpse. And
Right.
Now, the thing is they do, as an older cat, they grow into these monstrous creatures, so maybe they would have calloused hands, you know?
That's a good point.
So
That's fair. That is a fair and solid point.
but it could be any number of other entities, because there wasn't really any clear indication of somebody getting dragged out as a corpse. So is it really a Kasha?
Right. It seems like the Kasha has a very
Yeah, it
narrow
doesn't seem
purview.
like it.
It's like
Not to me.
fiery cat that eats corpses. And then family distressed by strangulation ghost.
Although
Calloused
the
hand.
strangulation for the 1942 case did happen after
The death of a family member. However, deaths of family members oftentimes leave behind, sort of a vortex, a portal for any number of entities to pour through. So,
True.
So, I can't give this any wickedness as far as I'm concerned, because even in its natural state, it's a scavenger. And I don't see it that much different than like a jackal or a coyote or, any other animal that would come around a corpse and eat it.
Sure.
Because if they killed people, you could ratchet it up a little. But if they're just waiting for a corpse, just waiting for somebody to drop dead, that doesn't seem that wicked to me. That just seems like something that happens in nature. A hyena, any
like
number of things. Yeah,
right.
It's about as wicked as a vulture.
I find that like a hippopotamus is more wicked than this because a hippopotamus will run up and eat you and just gore you and kill you. So it seems like a natural kind of thing, even though it's a supernatural being. It does natural stuff.
So what?
What are you giving it, Jay?
What am I giving it?
Yeah.
I'm giving it a 1 because it just solely off of the fact that it looks wicked.
Right.
And so I'll give it a 1 for that. But
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking 1.
I would agree a 1.
Yeah.
For the association with hell.
Yeah.
1.
Dragging it honestly, it looks scarier than it actually is.
Right.
Well, although you do have to protect it. You have to protect your corpses and your
You do have to protect your
ones.
corpses. But then again, that is a very human trait to have such reverence for human bodies. It might be much more natural to let a body be
Taken by a
absorbed and
Kasha.
eaten and, just whatever natural thing happens, we are attached to the body. And maybe the lesson in life is not to be so attached to the body.
So maybe not so evil, but definitely fun folklore.
Yes, fun folklore. And if you saw one, absolutely, you'd freak out.
Well, yeah, I mean, flaming cattails.
Just seeing a cat walking around in a robe, being like, "Hey, I'm a cat, meow."
Yeah.
Meow.
What was your number?
1.
You gave it a 1.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
I was dealing with the camera. All right, cool.
Yeah. So
111
111. Sorry,
111.
Kasha.
for a total of 3.
Jeez. That's our lowest ranking from 1 to wicked.
Well, I love the folklore. I really do.
It's a good folklore, and it's a cat.
I promise.
I like the idea that your cat is like, at night I turn into a flaming monster. Meow.
I promise that the episodes to come are way more wicked than this, though.
Meh.
Okay. Well, okay.
It's a weird promise.
Okay, but here's the thing, Jay. JT only wants death and destruction.
That's true.
But I feel like a lot of our listeners do
I know.
enjoy.
No, they're gonna.
just-
Yeah, I mean, this episode's been super fun.
It's just JT.
It's just not.
Shut up. We told them it would be a surprise.
Oh my bad. Oh gosh, we did.
Surprise!
All right,
Right.
Debrea, bleep it.
Yeah. Exactly. Anyways, so sorry, Kasha, you got a wah wah in the
Wah, wah.
Wah, wah.
but you see, still cool. You're a cool flaming cat. Please don't.
Cool flaming cat. That sounds like 1920 jazz style. You're a flaming cat.
You're a cool flaming cat.
Cool flaming cat.
And please don't eat me when I die. I would
Or do. I'll be dead.
Well,
So
do you want to get dragged into the flaming pits of
there's
Kasha
a long
hell?
line of people going to drag me to hell. So, get in line, cat.
Get a line, Kasha. But anyways, thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. And let us know below what you would rate the Kasha on your scale of wickedness. But with that, my name is Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Susi.
And stay spooky, y'all.